You too.
So let's get this thing going. All right. Well, good morning, everybody. My name is Joshua Boatman, and I'm the Regional Technology Director for the Ohio Valley region. And in today's command training class, we're going to talk about campaigns. I almost forgot. There's so many of them. I almost forgot today what today was. Today, we're going to talk about campaigns. And we're going to focus on a couple specific things within campaigns. We're going to talk about actual social media ads that we can use to advertise your listings and or to generate business. And then we're also going to talk about how we can use command to post, to schedule posts to your Facebook business page in the future. So that way you don't have to always be in Facebook every single day because, no one wants to be in Facebook all the time. You can actually, schedule some posts out there in the future. And then if we have a little bit of time left, we're going to talk about how to do some direct mailings. So we'll see what happens. So as always, I'm going to attempt to share my screen and see what kind of trouble that gets us into. Hopefully we're in and people can see it. It didn't crash. Yay, we're in. How exciting. If at any point you have any questions, please feel free to unmute yourself and ask. If you want to raise your hand, go ahead and raise your hand and I can call on you as well. If you want to use the chat, please don't be shy, ask away. And if I can answer the question, I will. And if I can't, I'll pretend I didn't see it. So without further ado, let's jump into campaigns. I keep wanting to say designs because I just did that yesterday. So here you can see we are logged into command. So the first thing we want to do when we talk about campaigns is we want to make sure that our social media is linked to command. That's the biggest part, especially when we talk about our social media ads and our social posts that we can run within command. So to do that, if we go in the upper right-hand corner where you're going to see your name and probably your picture if you have it uploaded, we're going to drop down this menu. And in here, we're going to have a settings icon. Or a settings section. It always blows my mind that, settings has become the gear. If you've noticed, everywhere you see the gear, that's the settings. And I wonder where that transition happened, right? Just interesting because a gear is really not a setting. It's just a cog in the machine, man. We're all just a cog in the machine. We're all just a brick in the wall. Pink Floyd fans, anybody out there? Maybe? No, hopefully. I love Pink Floyd. I still have the vinyl. I am that old. So once we are in command, in the settings section under the integrations, we can kind of scroll through and you're going to locate your Facebook section here. And if it doesn't have anything connected here, you're going to have the option to connect. This will prompt you to log into Facebook, and then this will allow you to post to your business page. This is a great moment for me to kind of point out that when we talk about posting on Facebook, when we talk about that in specifics, we're not actually posting to your personal page. We can only post to your business page. So a good rule of thumb will always be that when you post to your business page, you then may very well have to log into Facebook and then share that post from your business page to your personal page. It'll all make a little bit more sense once we actually get in here and we start to create some posts. So just kind of locate the Facebook stuff, get connected, get authorized, do all that good stuff. So let's jump back to the home screen. All right. So the next thing we are going to quickly talk about, as we always talk about, is if we click the little red KW up here in the upper left-hand corner, that exposes all the names of all the applets. Today, we are going to be in campaigns, which is the little bullhorn, and we're actually going to jump into designs just a little bit to show you how you can leverage some of the designs to help you build out your future social media posts. So first things first, let's jump into campaigns. So when we first log in, obviously, we're going to see our dashboard screen. And then the thing I quickly want to point out is we have this quick post section. So if you shuffle through these are just general posts that have already been set up for you with actual images, with verbiage that you can easily and quickly post to your social media, right? You don't have to think of anything. You don't have to do anything. You just click the little arrow button and then that will actually allow you to schedule it and post it to your Facebook business page. Just kind of want to point that section out. They do a pretty good job of trying to keep these updated as much as they can. Sometimes there is a lag on them. So for instance, for a while there, you actually could see the Christmas ones well into February. So just kind of keep that in mind. Don't always expect this to be something that's always available, but just as like an added benefit. So then when we talk about it over here on the right-hand side, we can see, what connected accounts we have. So here you can see I have my Facebook, and here you can see I have my Google Ads account. And then for my social post, I have my Facebook, and then I also have my Twitter. You can follow me at KW Agent Test 1. That's my Twitter handle for those of you who want to follow and see all the shenanigans that Agent Test gets into at the Keller Williams world. And then across the top here, we have our paid ads, right? This is where we can view all the paid social ads we've done here under emails. If we set up any email campaigns, we're not really going to delve too deep into email campaigns within this class. We're going to kind of focus on just the social media aspects for our campaigns. And then direct mail, of course, if we were going to send out any postcards, just listed, just sold, we'd be able to see where we are with that, how many we've sent, all that good stuff. And then our social posts, this is just a quick way for us to see, hey, what posts do we have scheduled in the future? This is where we'll actually be able to come and schedule certain posts on certain days from this screen as well. So just kind of wanted to walk through those menu options across the top. Is there one for LinkedIn? So currently right now, Marcy, great question. You can only post social media posts to Twitter and your Facebook business page. You can't do it through LinkedIn from Command, and you cannot do it from Instagram. That I know they're working on the Instagram integration. That's something that they're hoping that they're going to have at one point where it can actually go to Instagram. I don't know if LinkedIn is on the list or not, but I will try to make a note of that and see if I can't find out. But thanks. Great question. All right. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead. We're going to create a new campaign in the upper right-hand corner. And this is going to give us an option to pick our campaign type, right? Social ad, search ad, social post, direct mail, and email. So we are going to create a Facebook post, right? We're going to create a post, and we're going to try to maybe advertise a listing, right? Pretty simple, pretty basic. So we're going to click social ad paid. Now this is going to bring up our social ad modal. And up here, we want to identify the name of the campaign. We're actually going to talk about two different kinds of campaigns you can run Facebook-wise, for those who don't have listings, and then obviously for those who do have listings, right? So we'll kind of quickly run into each one of those. But when naming your ad, keep in mind, the only person that sees this is going to be you. This is just so you can identify what this ad is. At one point, when you're creating multiple ads, you're going to want to be able to quickly identify what this property is. So in this case, let's do what was recently, we'll just do my rental, 6321 Greenfield Way, right? This is, especially if it's advertising a listing, go ahead and make sure that you use the address for the ad name, pretty basic stuff. Under the goal, none of this really matters except two of them. I don't want to say it doesn't matter, but it really doesn't change anything. They're just generally there for tracking purposes. Advertise listing will immediately prompt us when we select it and we set up the campaign to select a listing. Advertise multiple listings is a little bit different. This will actually allow us to advertise multiple listings within a singular campaign. Why would you want to do that? Well, think of it like this. Maybe you're representing a builder or a development, and there's multiple houses within that development that are for sale. Maybe the builder has different models that they have, model spec homes out there on the MLS you want to advertise. You could advertise multiple listings. And if you have all those listings, tie them together and say, hey, move into Narrows Passage, or whatever weird name people come up with, these weird developments, right? Sunset Farms, and it's just insane what people name things. But, and what's even insaner, actually, I'm going to get on my soapbox, that you realtors actually remember, oh, hey, did you see that house over there in Party Meadows? Like, who remembers that nonsense? You guys do. So, and then the other options here are just going to be for tracking purposes. So when we talk about some other types of campaigns, and we're going to do one where we're going to attract buyers, this is just so within Command, Keller Williams can kind of track the success and the purpose of campaigns, right? We always track things within Command, right? Because the more information I have, the more data we have. We can use the AI and the Keller Cloud to compute and figure things out with metrics and all that insane stuff that makes sense, right? So for our purposes, we're going to advertise listings. And then down here at the bottom, we're going to be able to pick where we want our campaign to run. So keep in mind, within a single social ad campaign, we can have this show up on Facebook and Instagram, right? So if I want this singular ad to go on Facebook and Instagram, we can do that. You do not need to have an Instagram account, an Instagram, anything linked within Command Instagram wise to advertise on Instagram. Because Facebook owns Instagram and because you have that Facebook business page, you can then advertise at the same time on Facebook and Instagram with the same ad or just on Instagram. What you can't do is advertise on Facebook and Twitter at the same time. Twitter is its own campaign, so you'd have to build it and run it individually outside, right? So you can either do Facebook and Instagram together, or you can do a Twitter one. You can't do all three with a single campaign. Just kind of want to point that out. For our purposes, we're just going to do Facebook, so we're going to check this. And then we're going to click the Setup Campaign button. All right. So the first thing is going to pop up and said, hey, since we're advertising a listing, it's going to say, select a listing to advertise. Well, I don't have any listings. So I'm going to just search for my favorite listing in the whole wide world that I use all the time. I should actually know this address. And it's so sad that I don't even know the address of it. It's this one, 4995 North Orbison. What a weird street name. I'm going to select this one. Let's pretend this is my listing. And then, of course,
sad when that listing sells.
Well, you know what? I know. What I should do is I need to go buy this house and just leave it on the market. Have someone list it and just let it sit there. So I have an example. I mean, it can't be that expensive. I mean, maybe it's a good opportunity in the future. But so what's funny about this is whenever you start this, you're going to get the little Kelly guy that pops up. It's Gary basically saying, hey, let's follow along. And I'll show you how to do all this stuff. Well, we don't need Gary Keller today. You got Josh Boatman. So we're just going to skip that. But I do like the fact that it's always like, ta-da. The day I hear Gary Keller say, ta-da, I can't wait. Anyways, I digress. So here we are. You can see since we selected the listing, it did a couple things for us. On the right-hand side, we can see the preview of the ad that we're building, right? This is what the ad's going to look like on Facebook. It immediately grabbed the property or the marketing remarks, right? It grabbed the first photo of the listing, right? We can even see what it looks like on the web version. But that's what I want to point out in the top here. So we can see the web feed. And when we see the word web feed, we're going to assume that this is what you're going to see on your desktop, on the laptop, on, the giant old computer with the big CRT that your grandma or maybe you yourself are using. No judgment here, man. CRTs have a pretty crystal clear picture. They're just huge. But what I always tell people, and I always recommend when we build Facebook business pages or ads, I should say, when we do a Facebook ad, we want to drop this down and we want to select the mobile version. Because as we build this out, we want to see what it looks like on a mobile device, right? This is key, right? We want to see, this is what probably most people are going to view this ad is going to be on their phone as they're scrolling and scrolling and scrolling 5 hours a day. So we're going to select that. Over here on the left-hand side, pretty simple and pretty basic, right? Here, if we wanted to change the name of the campaign or the set goal for the campaign, we can do that, right? It's pretty simple. We can drop this down and say, hey, I didn't mean 6321 Greenfield Way. I meant 4995 North Orbison Road. We're just going to go with it. I don't know if that's what it was, but we're going to go with it. And then if we wanted to change our goal, well, we're still advertising this listing. Not a big deal. Now, the next section is going to be change the listing. We selected the listing, right? If we selected the wrong listing, we could change it and then go back and select the appropriate listing and then, select it and make those additional changes, right? Pretty simple. The next section and one of the most important sections here is going to be the ad text. You'll notice how we have these green check marks, right? These green check marks basically are saying, hey, you don't have to do anything in this name section. You've already done it. technically for ad media, you don't have to do anything. You've already checked it off because we already have a photo. And then duration and budget, we have some defaults in there that if you don't want to do anything about it, you don't have to change anything. You don't have to. Ad text though, we need to confirm, and Facebook ad, we need to confirm before we can actually publish the campaign. So let's go ahead and let's configure our ad text. This is where you can see it's brought in the marketing remarks, and we have a certain number of characters we can work within, right? We have 250 characters that we can use to advertise this listing on Facebook. Now, there are a couple things here that'll kind of give you some info, right? Hey, keep your text short and clear to the point. Talk about any exciting landmarks or amenities nearby. That's a tough word, amenity. Almost didn't say it. Down here below gives you a little tip as well. Hey, just keep in mind, it's while you can go up to 250 characters, we actually recommend 125 or less, because this will allow it to be placed everywhere and then be viewed everywhere. So to give you an idea of what we're talking about, here you can kind of see it stops at "you will love the ... So right here, you will love the, and then they don't actually see this, right? Even though we have that ability on the mobile ad, they're not seeing that. So if we start to backspace that out, we want to try to stay within that 125 characters. We want to make sure that as someone is scrolling through, that they can stop, look at the ad, and get the full impact of the words you're using. So we'll just go fix this with One Car Garage. Just look at this photoshopped photo, right? Because nothing sells a house like a photoshopped Twilight photo. Thank you, Grammarly. And the other cool thing that we can kind of pull, or we can kind of do within the main copy section, if you look in the lower right-hand corner here, you have this little smiley face. This allows us to insert emojis into our ads, right? Super important, right? You know, we can drop in the little googly eye emoji. Here's some information of note. They actually say Facebook ads that have emojis actually have a 30% higher click rate. You know, really think about that. If you include some emojis, people are clicking on these ads more often than not. It's weird because it's probably true, because I'm probably that person as well, right? I see it like the emoji draws my eye. You know, I'm a big fan. If you're going to put an emoji anywhere, I always go the poop emoji. Can never go wrong with the poop. You know what? It's non-threatening. I mean, he's got like nice eyes, right? He's got nice eyes. So as we kind of slowly go through and we're building out this ad, we have our headline, right? Here you can see, here's our headline. And then here's where the headline's going to go, right? Tell us what your advert is about. Check out this amazing house, right? Don't come to me for marketing remarks. Don't come for me for actually what you put in a marketing piece, because I couldn't sell $50 for $2. You guys are amazing with what you do. Once again, it gives us a little indicator here. Hey, just be careful. Don't exceed 40 characters. We have our character count over here. It might get cut off, right? We have these little tips as we go through each section saying, hey, for optimum performance of this ad, let's make sure that we stick within a certain character limit. And then below this, we have our description, right? And here is our description, right? Enter a text that clearly tells people about the CTA, the call to action, right? So you could come up with something of your own, but you'll notice that there's this option here, try this. You could be coming home to this. And we have this shuffle and use suggestion option, right? If we shuffle through, you're going to see a couple random suggestions that we have in here for you, right? So we can say, oh, if you like this, just hit use suggestion, and then that'll plug in, right? And then you'll notice once I've completed these 3 sections, we got a check mark. Once again, we have the little smiley face in the lower right-hand corner here, where we can drop in, let's drop in the Easter Bunny. It's exciting. And then one of the cool things that I'll kind of show you, a little life hack, if you will, if you add an emoji to any of these sections and you highlight it, right? Left click and drag, or single click and drag if you're on a Mac for some reason, and you copy it, right? Control C or Command C on a Mac. You can actually Control V and paste that emoji into the headline. They don't have the little smiley face here, but you can actually drop in that emoji there as well. So if you want to just have full on emoji action, you have that ability every step of the way. I'm waiting for a realtor to actually build an entire ad of emojis. That's the ad that I want to see. There are actually no words, just pictures of a house and a bunch of emojis. I'm just curious on how it will perform. And I would be amiss if I did not mention this section down here at the bottom before we save our ad text. It cannot contain any misleading content that implies personal attributes, adult or political content. Basically, treat what you put in here as if what you would put in your actual marketing remarks within your MLS. Make sure you're abiding by fair housing. Make sure you're not saying anything negative, derogatory, anything offensive in any form or any fashion. These ads are ran through a Facebook filter that looks for things like that. And you do run the risk of your account getting suspended, your Facebook ads manager account getting suspended, and not being able to run ads further in the future. So just be cautious with that. Not that anyone here would do it, but just always want to just make sure everyone's aware of that. So now, if we're happy with this, we're just going to save our ad text, right? Now we're going to go to the ad media section. Well, it is checked, but let's just kind of jump in here and let's just see what we can do. So when we click configure, you're going to see that it grabbed our photo from the MLS. If we wanted to add some additional photos to this, we can do that. We can click add more, and this will bring up all the photos of the house that are on the MLS, right? So I always like to go to as I've lovingly coined this the other day. This is the the barn shed, or what I think I'm calling it the Sharn now. Trademarked. Use it in your marketing remarks. So that everyone knows that it has a Sharn. Look at that. It's exciting. Now, what's really cool about this, right? You can add up to 5 photos to this ad. And what will happen is Facebook will start to run this ad and it'll start to put each photo first. And during the length of your ad, if one photo is getting more interaction, it'll start to display that photo first more and more and more and more, right? So if you have like a picture of the front of the house, you have a picture of the pool, you have a picture of the really nice bathroom, you have a picture of the basement, you have a picture of the room no one goes into because we don't know what's on the other side, right? Whatever you're going to do, whatever one draws their attention, whatever one gets their clicks, that will slowly start to rise to the top to hopefully generate more interest. So you can easily do that. One of the other things you can do when we click add more, and instead of choosing from the listing, right, which is awesome, we can add images. So this will let you do a couple things, right? We can upload an image directly from our computer, right? Or if you were in my designs class yesterday, we can choose from designs. If I click browse designs library, hopefully this will work, we can pick our listing that maybe we filled out a template. We can select it. We'll see what it does here. Oh, because I haven't tried it yet. I got to go back and try it again. So what it'll do is it'll format it so that way it can actually work for what we want to do. So here you can see this template that I filled out using a design yesterday with this house. I can preview and crop it. And this is just going to make sure that, hey, does this fit within what you wanted to do? All this good stuff. I can hit save image. And now, instead of just using the listing photo, right, that I can pull from the listing, I can actually, if I spend the time and I go in and I take the 30 seconds, well, it's probably 3 minutes more likely, to update the template that I'm using within designs, I can load that in instead. And what's really key about this, if you take the time within designs and you modify a design, build your own custom design, do whatever it is you want to do to give yourself a unique branded look, this is the true value of this. This could be anyone's listing. This is a Josh Boatman listing. And you can always tell if nothing else because I have the poop emojis. But But this is where you can slowly start to build your brand recognition, right? And that's one of the key things everyone kind of misses, especially when we talk about advertising on social media. Advertising on social media, advertising your listing. Yes, is it to get leads of people interested in buying this house? Absolutely, it is. But a huge also added bonus of that is getting your brand out there and getting people to connect with you and understanding that when they see this template, when they see your custom template, your custom logo, whatever it is you're doing, they know that that is your listing and you're starting to build that brand awareness. So I just kind of want to point that out. A couple other options you can do over here as well. If you want, we can move the order of them, right? We can drag it and I want this one to be first. If I want to get rid of one, I can click on this. There we go. If I click on the three little dots or the ellipses, ellipsi, I don't know how you say it. I just say the three dots. We can change it, we can crop it, we can delete it. Right? Pretty simple. We can click video and we can actually upload a video to this ad, right? Whether it's a linked video from a YouTube video, a video we did in designs, the neighborhood video that we'll talk very briefly about during this class, or you can just upload one directly in here, right? There's some limits. You know, what video would you upload? Well, keep in mind, if you're having your house professionally done, right, photography wise, you probably paid a photographer, a videographer. They went out there, took a bunch of pictures, shot a video. Some of them will do like this 20, 30-second sizzle reel, the social media reel that you could upload. And if you have the time and you have the effort behind it, and you can do a video of the house, that is huge engagement. If you upload a video on a Facebook ad, that does get higher engagement than just static photos. But you can upload that and do all that good stuff. For our purposes, though, we're just going to stick with the images. Now, here is like a little bug that I'm going to tell you about that I hope they don't ever fix. So you're going to notice right here, you have your DBA logo, right? And generally, you need to make sure when we're advertising a listing that your DBA logo shows up. So right now it shows, oh, goodbye, Kevin. Thanks for stopping by. Here, I thought it was a real question. I was like, oh, someone's interacting with me. And that's just someone telling me, hey, I got to go. So here we are. We have our DBA logo section, right? You generally have to have this on your branded images, but you'll notice, even though it says left or right, we actually don't see it. I actually included it when I built this image within Designs. So if you do not select left or right here, even though right's already selected, it will not appear. But if I pick left or right, now you're going to see that it appears, right? And now you're going to see that it's going to be over here on the right. And then that means it will actually also appear on this image. So if you don't mess with it, and as long as you make sure that you put your DBA information within the designs, if you're using a designs template, you can ignore this section. You cannot delete this. This has to be there. It's just I think it's kind of a bug, which is basically preventing you from being able to have to include it. So I just kind of want to point that out. But just make sure that you do utilize it if you're just using the standard MLS photos. We want to stay in compliance as much as possible. And then we're going to go ahead and hit Save Ad Media. Pretty quick. We went through it relatively quick, right? But simple. Configure Facebook ad. Now we're going to start getting into the nitty gritty of things, right? So the first thing it's going to do is say, hey, what Facebook account are you using? Well, Josh Boatman's Facebook account. Send me a friend request. I probably will respond because I need friends. And then over here, we drop down. This is going to give us a list of all of our business pages, right, that are associated with our account. Remember, we talked about this. We don't actually post to our Facebook personal page. We're just posting to, we're not posting to any account. We're just utilizing our business page to create this ad. So the first thing I want you to see is this default verbiage up here, right? We have this standard KW logo, the Keller Williams sponsored. This is just placeholder until I select my business page. The moment I select it and we think about it, we will actually see the logo we have uploaded on our business page. We will see the name of our business page, right? So this is how people are going to be able to identify this ad belonging to you as well. Just kind of want to point that out. The next thing we're going to talk about, and it's really key, is the destination. Where do we want this to happen? When someone clicks learn more, they click on this ad, where are they going? Well, before we determine that, we have two options here. Use Facebook lead generation form or use a site or landing page. The Facebook lead generation form is ideal. This is what we want to use. This basically is the Facebook form that when someone clicks on it, it will pre-fill out a bunch of information on that form, pulling from their Facebook profile, right? When we do this versus this gives us a better chance of actually capturing lead information. If we were to just do this, use a site or landing page, if they were to click learn more, they'll just get forwarded to whatever website we want them to go to. We won't know who clicked on it. We'll just know that they clicked. And if they don't fill out any information on that page, we'll never know who they were.
And Josh,
Yes, ma'am.
what I do is I go on to my website through command. I find that property and I copy and paste that link in there. So on the learn more, it'll go straight to my website and from there, and I still capture the leads.
Absolutely. Yeah. But that's going to be one of those things for sure that you want to make sure they have to fill out that contact information, right? So the lead generation form is what you're always, and thanks for the comment, Jen, as always. Where'd you go? Oh, there you are. You moved on my list. Thank you for the comment as always. The Facebook lead generation form is always going to be key when you're wanting to actually capture lead information. This will hopefully prevent us from, getting the Mickey Mouses and the Donald Ducks and the Peter Pans, right? Doesn't mean that they can't change that information. You still won't get that, but hopefully you're going to get less of it. The next section we're going to talk about is the call to action label, right? That's this button over here. By default, we have three options. Well, we have learn more, which is the default, and then sign up and apply now. I'll be completely honest with you. I don't think there's any reason to ever use sign up or apply now. I think those generally have negative connotations, especially in sales, right? Sign up, oh man, someone wants to talk to me. I don't want to do that. Apply now, whoa, that's too much of a commitment, and I abhor commitment, sort of kidding. So learn more to me is the greatest thing because it's just as it implies, hey, I just want to share knowledge, right? I just want to share information. So you'll probably never use sign up or apply now, but if you do, let me know what kind of success you have. And then to Jen's point earlier, the follow-up destination URL. This is where you are going to tell it where to go. So to Jen's point, and we're actually going to do just that. If we go and we go to my Keller Williams agent website, right? And let's just pull an active listing. So what I can do is I can search for Troy, and I would actually search for this particular listing, but I'm too lazy to do that. So what we're doing is we're just going to randomly grab a listing and we're going to pretend that it is this particular listing. So here, let's go ahead and let's select, this is a Keller Williams one. So let's select this one. We click on this listing and we are on my agent website, joshuaboatman.kw.com. If you're looking to buy or sell and you want to look for a house, definitely stop on by the Josh Boatman Group. We're here to help. We can see this amazing listing. And what we do is we just copy this URL. So you go up and you click on it, you single click, you double click, whatever makes the most sense, whatever makes the most sense for your world. Highlight, drag across. We just want to highlight this URL. We're going to copy it, right? Click and copy, control or command C if you're on a Mac for some reason. We're going to copy that URL, right? And then when we jump back to our campaigns, we're going to paste that in here. And what we just did was if they click on this listing, they're going to get sent to this page, which this is going to contain more information about that property. And this leads to the next most important thing you want to kind of keep in mind when building ads. You want to make sure that your ad matches where you're sending them, right? You do not want to create a listing ad and then just send them to your homepage, right? You want to make sure that the ad matches the destination, right? There's probably an inappropriate joke in there somewhere that I can't say because we're being recorded. But you want to make sure that that takes place, because no one's going to get more frustrated than a potential client who clicks on something and they're like, whoa, I want to check out this amazing poop house. And then they're just dumped to your homepage. If you build a landing page within the applet within Command, which is an option where you can build a custom landing page for that particular listing, you could choose the landing page here and see a list of all the different pages you have built within your Command Agent website. We're not going to go too deep into this, but that is an option. But this is just a quick and easy way for you to build an ad. Awesome. So now the last section is our ad targeting section, right? So ad targeting, it's pretty basic. It immediately grabbed the city that the listing was located in, and it says, hey, we're going to advertise to everyone within a 20-mile radius that is located within that city on Facebook, right? If we want, we can flip the switch, use custom settings. And this lets us do a couple different things. First, we can adjust the radius, right? We can go as low as 15, can't go any lower. I don't know how high we can go, but you can go up to 30. We'll just say 30, right? And you can just a wide range. I'll probably do 20. The other thing that I want to point out are these checkboxes up here, specifically the target my database. One of the really neat things we can do within Command, if you have your clients loaded into your contacts applet, right, over here on the left-hand side, and you have their phone number, their email address, their Facebook profile, if you have that information in there, and it doesn't have to be their Facebook profile, if it's just their phone number and email address, and it's the same phone number and email address that they use to sign up for Facebook, you can specifically target them and their Facebook page, and your ad can pop up on their page, right? There's some caveats with this. The minimum audience size is 100. So you can't just target one person with ads over and over and over and over. Trust me, she still won't call you back. But what you can do is target at least an audience of 100 or more and have that ad show up. It's kind of a really cool feature where we can be very specific. Maybe you have a investor group, right? That's 100 or more. Maybe you just have a bunch of people in the same city and you want to advertise some huge event that you're hosting. And that's something we're going to talk about a little bit later. But you can target these people specifically and have that ad show up on their Facebook feed, not on their page as a post, but just as an ad that they're scrolling on through. The other thing, obviously, we have the custom audience option, right? And this is where we can target some specific things based upon interest. So as we all know, Facebook tracks everything and listens all the time to everything we say. If we click add interest, this is going to bring up a list of all the different interests you can have within Facebook and their known audiences, right? So if we want to target someone that has shown an interest in accounting, we can click accounting, we can hit save. So now what we've done is we've said, hey, within a 20-mile radius of Troy, Ohio, include people who match accounting, right? That's a pretty terrible interest to select, right? So we can go to add interest. What are some interests you may want to look into? Well, you could look into, if you have a starter home, you could look for apartments, right? Start typing in apartment and see what kind of interest we have in here. Oh, apartment list, apartment guide, apartment.com. There are some people that, you can target real estate, right? And see what interest pop up within real estate. There's a lot of interest here you could target. If you think about it if you have a luxury home, you may want to target something that has to do with stocks, right? Maybe the stock market, because someone who's interested in a luxury home probably might be interested in stocks and bonds and all that rich people stuff, right? I know about that. I played Monopoly. Don't pass go. Don't collect $200 unless you're the banker, because then you steal the money. You heard it here first. But you can start to be very, very specific. So let's say I do want to target someone who's interested in the stock market and the stock exchange, right? So this is kind of cool, right? This is going to be people included stock market or stock exchange. This isn't both stock market or stock exchange. And I want to be very clear with that. This is going to target people who have shown interest in stock market, as well as people who have shown interest within the stock exchange, right? One of the things that I can do though, is I can narrow this. So if I click narrow audience, it gives me the ability to then say, I want to also target people who are interested in acting. So when I do this, you're going to see another box appear. So now it's going to target people who are interested in the stock market and acting. They must have these two similar interests, as well as stock exchange and acting. They must match these two specific interests. And you can narrow the audience further and further and further. So keep this in mind, and that's just a long way of saying this. Interest contained within a box, imagine there is an or in between each one, right? Interest between two boxes, imagine there is an and in between it, right? Include people who match stock market and must also match acting. Be very careful when you narrow your audience. You can really start to limit, your target, right? Maybe you want to do that, but just be cautious. So we'll go ahead and we'll save our Facebook ad. And then last but not least, we have our duration and our budget. And this is where we determine how long we want this ad to run, when do we want this ad to run, how much money do we want to sacrifice to the Facebook people to run this ad. By default, we recommend a 10-day campaign and a budget of $1 a day. So it's, per channel, right? That's what we recommend. Our default is, hey, $30 over 10 days. So it's $3 per channel or per day per channel. It's like a tongue twister. Keep in mind, Facebook ads cannot be ran the day you create them. So the earliest we can run this one is April 1st, tomorrow. We can't run it today because it has to get filtered. It has to be vetted. It has to, go through all the Facebook channels. We can schedule this ad to run in the future. We can adjust our budget. And then when we're ready, we just save our duration and our budget. We can pick when we want it to end. We don't want it to be 10 days. We want it to run for 5 days. Whatever, right? We can make those assumptions and those adjustments, right? Maybe we want to schedule an ad that's going to go out to everyone about an open house we're having on a particular listing. So we can save the duration and budget. And then if we wanted to publish it, we can publish it. I can't publish it because obviously this isn't my listing. But it's just that simple. It'll get queued up and you'll be on your way. It's a pretty simple process. Now, it took us about 30, 40 minutes because I had to tell a couple jokes in between, right? But if you really think about it, to generate an ad on your listing can be done within 5 to 7 minutes. And then you have an ad out there. One of the most powerful things to kind of keep in mind when you talk about Facebook advertising is the value add it gives to your seller, right? Whether or not you sell this house because of Facebook ads, the leads you generate. When you go in on a listing presentation, talk about this. Talk about, hey, if you list with me, one of the cool things we're going to do is we're going to run a 10-day Facebook campaign targeting specific people with specific interest that would be interested in your property, right? Talk about that value add, right? Always keep in mind whenever you walk in on a listing presentation, right? 85% of all the realtors are going to do the same thing, right? You're all doing the same thing. It's going to be in the MLS. You're going to do an open house. It's going to be on realtor.com. It's going to be on Zillow. It's going to be all those places, right? What are you doing that's different that is going to sway that seller towards you? And mentioning, hey, I'm going to run weekly Facebook campaigns for your property. It's kind of a cool thing, right? So we'll go ahead and we'll just save this as a draft. Actually, before I leave this screen, any specific questions about this? Anyone? Anyone?
I have a question.
Sure.
You can run this kind of ad only if you are listing agent or with the permission of listing agent.
Yeah, that's a great question. So yes, you do not just have to run listings on or ads on your listings. If you have permission from another Keller Williams agent within your office to run an ad on their listing, and they give you the A-OK, absolutely do it. It's not tied to just yours. As you can see, when I selected this, I could pick any listing in the entire MLS. Obviously get their permission, but I don't know an agent who really wouldn't want free advertising on their listing.
Okay.
If you're going to
Thank you.
do an open house for another agent's property, that's a perfect way that you can pull in their information and stuff.
Absolutely. Great point, Jen. Great point. And Marcy, Instagram would be another channel. Absolutely. So down here at the bottom, if we had done Instagram, what it would have done is it would have said, hey, 10 days. And then it would have tried to split the dollar amount per channel. And then if I actually had done Instagram, we could actually even weight the cost. So say I only wanted to do $30 over 10 days. I could say $2 a day to Facebook and then $1 a day to Instagram, right? So you can actually control how that is split if we had done an Instagram as well. And I'll select that when we go through and do our next ad real quick that I kind of want to quickly try to run through to give you some other ideas of what you can do. And then so that way I can show you. So perfect. So let's jump through and let's create another quick ad. And I'm going to run through this relatively quickly because it's basically the same thing, but I want to give you some ideas on what you can do if you don't have listings. As we just mentioned, right, you could ask if you can run an ad on another agent's listings, but what if you don't? What if you're just trying to generate some buyers, right? You want to be able to show some houses, right? That's why we all join this business. We love showing houses. Listings are boring. You just put your sign in the yard and then you do nothing, right? We want to be out there on the streets. So we're going to create a new campaign, social media. Let's just say we're going to say price drops in Troy. I'm going to try to attract buyers. And this time we'll do Facebook and Instagram just so we can kind of see the difference there. I'm going to set up a campaign. So you'll notice that it didn't prompt me to select a listing because I don't need to do that. But that also means I'm going to have to do a little bit more work. So what I can do is, and I'm going to leverage your agent website to do this, right? So kind of walk with me when we get to that section. It'll make a little bit of sense. But I'll say, view the latest price drops in Troy, Ohio. You know, maybe I'm gonna do a little emoji. I'm gonna do like, there's a money emoji somewhere, right? We'll do, there we go. Perfect. Click here to view the cheapest, right? Now we'll just say the view all the price drops, right? I'm not great at this. Don't hammer me. I'm not in marketing. Don't miss out, right? We're just going to quickly fill this up. We can plug in more emojis if we want, right? We're going to save this ad text, right? We're building this thing out. Now we're going to go to add media, and I'm going to select media for this campaign. I don't have any listings associated with it, right? But if I go to add images and I browse my designs library, we talked about this before, right? We're going to go through this relatively quickly. I can select a design that I've done within designs, right? Just thinking about it. I wonder how they determine what their spinning wheel is going to look like. Someone somewhere. Oh, that's right, because I haven't used this before. So let me try it one more time. So basically when we do that, it says, hey, we need to format that design to work better with Facebook ads. So it has to make that adjustment, and then you have to go back in and click it. So we're going to preview and crop it. Here we are. This is my wonderful view all the price drops in Troy, Ohio. I made this. I kind of ripped one thing off and then changed the verbiage. Keep the change, right? How exciting. And here's what my ad looks like, right? Ooh. I come down here to the Facebook and Instagram ads. Functions basically the same thing, right? We select our Facebook business page. We can see what it looks like on our mobile device, but we also have a couple different options here. We can see what it looks like on the Instagram ad. We can even see what it looks like on the Instagram story. What's important about this is there are specific image formats for the Instagram story if we want it to appear as an Instagram story ad. And we can kind of control that here. Do we want this to be an Instagram ad or an Instagram story ad? It's not going to be both. It's one or the other. So since mine is kind of this rectangular shape, right? I want it to be an ad versus a story just because I don't like the bars on the top. And then once again, it's the same setup here, lead generation form, learn more, all this good stuff. But now the follow-up destination URL. Well, where am I sending people? Well, this is where it's really, really cool, where we can leverage your Keller Williams agent website to do some of the heavy lifting for you. If we go back to our Keller Williams website, right? We'll just start from the beginning. And I said, hey, I want to show the price drops for Troy, Ohio, right? I'm going to search for all those properties, right? And here they are. Here's all the properties in Troy, Ohio for sale. You can see Troy, Ohio. I want you to pay attention to the URL though, and how this changes. What we're going to do is if we come across here and we start to set up our filters, we have some options here. We can go to more, and under more, if I scroll all the way down to the bottom, I have a couple options here. Open houses only, price reduced within the last 7 days. Watch what happens to this URL when I check this box, or flip this switch, I should say. It changes. So now it's only going to show me what has dropped in price within the last 7 days. So now if I copy this, just as if we were copying our listing page, right? I come over here, I plug in my follow-up destination URL. It goes through this thing like, oh yeah, everything's great. I, of course, keep in mind, because I didn't select the listing, it's going to default it to where my market center is located. So I want to definitely make sure I use custom settings. And I definitely want to make sure that I type in Troy, Ohio here, right? And then I can kind of go through and add my interest and all that good stuff as well. But I want to be very specific when I'm not selecting a listing, it doesn't default it to where that listing's located, right? I'm going to save that. So now what I have, if I do the Facebook mobile, right? I have an ad that will run. And if anyone clicks on it, they will get sent to my agent website and it will show them the properties that have dropped within the last 7 days. Now, what I want to be very, very clear with you guys, this is a dynamic search. So this isn't a static search. And what I mean by that is, if I run this ad for 10 days, every time someone clicks on it, they're going to see the most recent price drops within the last 7 days, right? So they're just not always going to see these 3 properties. Whenever they click on it, they are going to see the most recent ones. And this is a great way. If you don't have any listings, you know, you can see none of these are Keller Williams listings, right? I don't need that. I don't need permission to run an ad to showcase these price drops. Not at all. Because I'm not saying, hey, check out this particular listing. I'm saying, check out my website, view all the local price drops. And if one's interest, you know, they can click on it and maybe they'll fill out some information on that page. And they'll give me a call, or I'll see that they submitted some information and I can follow up with them later and say, hey, notice you checked out my price drops in Troy. Did anything jump out at you? And I can set up a smart plan that will kind of follow up with them and hopefully nurture them along. You know, in a different world before COVID, you could do the same thing, except for price drops, do open houses, right? Run an ad that says, hey, view all the open houses, leverage the KWLS integration that we have within Command, right? We have access to all this listing information, make it work for you, and then you can leverage your agent website to do just that. Down here under duration and budget real quick, just so we can kind of talk about what we were talking about, Marcy. So here we can set our duration, right? Our $30 budget. And now it says, hey, distribute evenly across the 2 selected channels, right? So it's $1.50 a day per channel. If I uncheck this, I can say, hey, you know what? I want $20 to go to Facebook and I want $10 to go to Instagram. So Facebook gets $2 a day. Instagram gets $1 a day for the 10 bucks. Hopefully that kind of makes sense. You can use this. I always recommend use automatic placements for Facebook, Instagram ads. I'm kind of stuck on landing pages. I'm not sure what I have and how to check it. Where do I go to get more info on them? So we do have a class where we talk about the consumer app. But this is going to be the applet over here on the left-hand side, Debbie, where you can create landing pages. And inevitably, if you want to sit through the class we offer on consumer, we talk a little bit about landing pages as well and how to set those up. And then, as always, I always recommend everyone, if you ever truly have any real questions about Command, if you go to answers.kw.com, I will plug that in there. That is a repository of just so much information that is always up to date and always accurate on what is going on within Command. There's a lot of really great how-to articles in there that can walk you through a lot of things. But just kind of wanted to quickly point that out. All right, so we're running out of time. So that went a little bit longer than I thought, so I apologize. So the next thing I want to talk about is social posts. So one of the neat things we can do within Command is we can schedule our social posts in the future. And then we can leverage designs to help us do just that. So if we go to social posts, right, we can see our live and scheduled posts. We can see if we have anything scheduled, and we can schedule things in the future, right? If we create a new campaign, we can go to social posts, and it's going to pop up a box, and it's going to say, hey, we're going to wait for it to process. Gives me an opportunity to drink my water. Come on, there we go. All right. So let's say I want to have something post on Easter, right? Easter's coming up. It's a great day. What if I want to post something on there, right? I don't want to have to wait till Easter and get on there and post something on Easter. Well, we can use Command to post to your Facebook business page something for Easter, right? So we can start to type in what we want. So we can say, Happy Easter. I hope you and your family enjoy the day, right? That's cool, right? We're building it out. This is awesome, right? We're seeing what it looks like. No big deal. But then you're kind of stuck like, well, Josh, what about a graphic? What do I do? Well, what we're going to do is we're going to jump to designs relatively quickly. And this is kind of one of the things that I want to show everyone that's really, really powerful that Keller Williams' marketing department does for us. If we jump to designs, and we're not going to save this post, right? We'll come back and we'll recreate it. And I click the plus sign in the lower right-hand corner. I click social, and I click next. It's going to take us into the social designs editor. And one of the really neat things, in addition to all these real estate related ones, like, oh, we have all these listing ones, right? If you were in my designs class yesterday and you suffered through that with me, amen to you. All these buyer things, right? All these interesting things. When we come all the way down to the bottom, though, we have collections and we have new designs. When we click on new designs, you're going to see the designs that they are constantly releasing for us, right? So let's say I want to do something for April Fool's Day tomorrow, right? Let's say, well, I don't want to do Easter. Maybe I'll do Easter, maybe I won't. So what I can do is I can say, hey, do I want a story, which is, Instagram? Do I want a square? Do I want social wide? What do I want, right? If I know this is going on Facebook, generally I'm probably going to do a wide one. So if I filter this down, it's just going to show me all the wide formatted images. You can see all the ones that they've added all the way through it, right? Then we have April Fools. If we click this, use, this is going to take us into that design where we then need to come in here and we need to make some changes, right? Maybe I want to include my DBA. So I'm going to get rid of that. And I think I'm going to, oh, that's not what I want to do. I'm going to add the region because I work for the region, right? So I'm just going to drag that in there, right? I can customize this a little bit if I want to change any of the colors, right? We talked a little bit about this. Anything we click on, we might be able to change and adjust, right? But I just wanted to update the logo, right? I wanted to come up here. I could change the name of this just so I can keep track of it, but I think April Fool's Day is fine. And I'm just going to hit done. I'm going to, oh, hold on. I want to hit, yes, we're going to save it. So now I have saved that design to my designs, right? If I go to social at the top, always spins because it tries to create previews for me. If I go to social at the top, here it is, right? You can see I did one for Easter as well. So we'll actually do both of those. I went through and I just added my particular DBA. So now when I go to campaigns, I click create a new campaign, create a social post. If I want to do one for Easter, I can say happy Easter to you and yours, right? I can come in here. I can add in the Easter bunny and an egg. And maybe we'll just do the heart. Then in the photo section, browse designs library, you can see the ones that I've created. I can just click on it. It's going to ask me to crop it. There we go. It's including my DBA if I needed to. And then I can schedule this post where I want this to go on Easter. So I'm going to hit the little calendar. April 4th, Easter Sunday at 10 a.m. Now I could actually have this go to my Twitter as well. If I select it, it gives me an option so I can see what it looks like on the Facebook and then on my Twitter. And then I can just simply schedule a post. Right? And I can do the same thing for April Fool's Day tomorrow, right? But I can even use this over here. I want to specifically create it on April 1st. I could do the same thing up here, either which way. You know, this is just going to already default it to April 1st. I can say April Fool's, you'd be a fool to not list your house in this market. Look at me, I'm a realtor, everybody. I'm a genius. I'm just kidding. So we can sit there and we'll do like the ghosty face emoji. And then once again, we're just browsing the designs. I'm selecting April Fool's. It's thinking about it. It's going to say, hey, do you want to make sure that it looks okay? No, work for Josh. It's thinking about it. Always wants to hang up on me when I'm doing a class. Let's try it one more time. There we go. So I want to do the wide. And then we schedule it. Here we are. This is what it looks like. Schedule the post. So now I know tomorrow this is going to show up. If for some reason I don't want it to, I can click the three little dots. I can edit it. I can delete it. And I'll actually be able to kind of see, does it get any likes, any comments, and any shares from my business page? Two really relatively quick things we just talked about within campaigns, right? Paid ads, leverage your listings, leverage your Keller Williams website, leverage other agents' listings. And then automatic posting to your Twitter and your Facebook, right? Huge stuff. Sit down, make a time block on a Sunday, on a Monday, and think about what you want your post to look like for the upcoming week, maybe for the coming 2 weeks. We are constantly providing new designs that are going to be relevant to upcoming holidays and important days within each week, each month, right? Phenomenal things. Took no time. In literally 10 minutes, I've scheduled 2 posts that are going to go out. Very, very simple. Any questions regarding social posts? I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing my screen so I can see y'all's lovely faces. Any questions? I always end it the same way, right? Any questions, concerns, criticisms, compliments?
Good job.
Thanks, Jen. You always pick me up. But I just, it's just one of those things, like, as I always say, I don't ever expect anyone to be an expert walking out of these classes. The biggest thing for these classes is to get you to understand what it can do and to get you excited about jumping into the system. Now you know the questions you need to ask if you get stuck. So if you have any questions, follow up with your MCTT in your office. If you don't know who your MCTT is, ask your MCA. If you don't know who your MCA is, ask your TL. If you don't know who your TL is, ask your OP. If you don't know who your OP is, then you're probably not a Keller Williams agent, because that is the stuff they drill into you in the very beginning, all these acronyms and aneurysms or whatever it is. I tore my TL with my ACL, my MCL at the ALC the other day. Beyond that, if you have anything else, please let me know. Hopefully I'll see you guys tomorrow. I don't know what class we're teaching tomorrow. It's always a new day for me when I wake up and I'm like, oh, this is what I'm teaching. Hopefully I'll see you then. If not, Godspeed. And we are recording this, and I will get the links out by the end of the week to everyone Market Center, so you can come back and rewatch this nonsense for some reason. Until then, deuces.